نازم نسل قهرمان داری در سراسر دنیا نام جاودان داری ای وطن تو را نازم نسل قهرمان
Just looking at this crowd, it gives me hope because we're all speaking up and raising our voices. And I want to thank each and every one of you. The reason I got into music was not because of my love for music. It was so that I could speak up for those people who don't have a voice. And today, I'm thankful that I can as much as I possibly can. So I wanted to just sing a little bit of the song that I dedicated to those Afghan girls who have once again lost their freedom. دخترم دختر خانم من دختر ملک دل ایرانم من مشکن بال و پرم را مشکن تاج سرم را مشکن از تو A very quick speech. The international community, under the leadership and for the support of the United States of America, went to Afghanistan to topple terrorist-sponsored government, and a collection of 46 nations stayed there to fight a terrorist organization called the Taliban. Finally, after 20 years of fighting, loss of thousands of precious lives, and spending thousands of billions of dollars of taxpayers' money, President Biden decided to accept the most shameful defeat in the history of the United States of America and leave Bagram Air Base under cover of the dark at night and left a vast land to a bunch of religious zealots wearing slippers and riding Chinese motorbikes. From the very first days, everybody in Afghanistan knew that these terrorists were coming from Pakistan to fight Americans and their allies, as well as Afghan forces. But nobody wanted to name the culprit that supported the insurgency for political reasons. The most powerful democracy in the world and the only superpower lowered itself to the level to sit at the same table with a well-known terrorist organization that had millions of dollars of bounties on their leaders' heads not long ago. Not only the United States of America, but all their NATO allies together gave in to a bunch of religious zealots and accepted a humiliating defeat. The fate of 36 million Afghan men and women is given to the hands of a group of zealots who do not believe in human rights, freedom of speech, equality, rights of women, democracy, or progress. They want to push the society to 1400 years back. Terrorism is their way of forcing themselves on masses of people. They believe that masses are animals and do not know the right way of living, and only religious leaders or clergymen can decide for them how to live. They do not recognize any international organization and believe that science and technology misleads humanity. President Biden committed a crime against humanity by pulling U.S. forces out of Afghanistan before reaching a meaningful political settlement. Terrorists, aka Islamic radicals, jihadists, Salafis, or Islamic fundamentalists make a strong network around the world and are the most serious threat for the security of mankind. The defeat of the Soviet Union emboldened and strengthened terrorist groups all around the world, from North Africa to the Far East. The defeat of the United States will provide every Islamic extremist with the belief that their ideologies come from God and it is the most righteous ideology. President Biden, by pulling out U.S. troops from Afghanistan, not only accepted a humiliating defeat, but provided terrorists with a vast land that they will certainly try to expand. All terrorist groups such as the Taliban, ISIS, Lashkar-e-Taiba, Lashkar-e-Jangawi, Chechen terrorists, East Turkestan Islamist movement, Islamic movement of Uzbekistan, Al-Qaeda, etc., have the same ideology and support each other. Afghanistan will be the best territory for them to flourish. There are governments in the world that use terrorism as a means to reach their political goals. At present, Pakistan and Iran are the two states that have heavily invested in terrorism. Every soul in Afghanistan knows that the Taliban couldn't get to this level of power without financial, military, and political support from Pakistan. Pakistan Foreign Minister Mahmoud Qureshi is shamelessly jockeying through the capitals in the region to convince the leaders to recognize the Taliban government. Herewith, I'm calling on the United Nations not to give the seat of Afghanistan in the United Nations to a representative from the Taliban until they share power with all ethnic and religious groups in Afghanistan. 2, all member states of the United Nations should not recognize a Taliban regime until there is a broad-based government that includes all ethnic and religious minorities, including non-Muslims. 3, sanctions of all types should be imposed on the Taliban to force them to respect human rights of all people living in that country, respect women's rights as equal to that of men's, respect children's rights, and respect the rights of religious minorities, including non-Muslims. Number 4, all members of the United Nations should designate the Pakistani government as a terrorist sponsor state and impose political, economic, and military sanctions on Pakistan. 5, sanctions should be imposed on Pakistani politicians and military leaders who promote terrorism and support terrorist groups and use them against the neighboring countries for political gains. I also call on the Human Rights Commission to watch all actions of the Taliban against the Afghan civilians and report every misconduct to the United Nations to take proper action against them. And stop the Taliban from ultra-judiciary killings and inhuman punishments such as stoning, cutting hands and feet, and public executions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mujahid. Saying shame, Pakistan!
در سراسر دنیا نام جاودان داری، نام جاودان داری. سرزمین گلگونم خاکت غرق در خونم، سرزمین گلگونم خاکت غرق در